Welcome to the Obsessed With podcast. We are your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We've been together since 2007, and we are the co-founders of Travcest.
And we've also been full-time travelers since 2012.
That's right, crazy.
Which is insane. Join us here as we pull back the curtain with fun, juicy, and honest conversations. We're gonna dive into all the things that you might be navigating too, like figuring out how to add more travel and adventure into your life, which PS, this is our specialty, navigating big transitions, relationships and marriage, deciding whether or not kids fit into the picture in your 40s, and most importantly, how to create a life of freedom on your own terms.
Consider this podcast your official permission slip to unapologetically do life your way and be able to change your mind a million times along the way and know that you are not alone.
Our goal with this podcast is to create a fun, zero judgment, happy hour style space where we can all just hang out, have real conversations, and navigate all the life things together.
So grab a drink, settle in, and let the obsession begin.
Woo!
Welcome back to the Obsessed With podcast. We got a good one for you this week. We're going to be breaking down our longest flight in the world currently, 18 hours and 40 minutes on Singapore Airlines from JFK direct to Singapore. And we flew that business class. And so we're going to be talking just kind of about the experience, getting kind of nitpicky, and also the points and how we found the flight and everything like that.
Yeah, to kind of give some insight and tips. Like, we get a lot of questions about even how to use points, which I think is like super daunting. We're not experts at all, but just how we've used points to have these flight experiences that we've been able to have. It's all been through points. Like, we haven't paid outright for a business class seat. So anyways, we'll get into that all in this episode.
Let's do it.
Flight crew, please prepare for departure.
Okay, so we're currently, I look like a freaking pirate right now, dude.
No, you don't.
Okay, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I had my Travcest hat on, and I just took it off, and it's like absolutely terrifying what's underneath. Like, my hair, my skin. We're in Thailand. It's like, it's really, 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 really hot. And really, 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 really humid. So there's just nothing. There's no hope for the hair.
No.
And I brought like my whole thing of makeup, that I have like a bag that I travel with, and it has all my makeup in it and skincare and stuff. And I don't know, it probably weighs 10 pounds, right? I don't know. It's kind of heavy. Yeah, I've been lugging it around. It's way too hot to wear makeup. Like, you couldn't pay me to put makeup on my skin right now. No. It would just melt off.
Yeah.
I've never felt heat like this.
I wonder if that's because we're coming from Colorado.
I don't know.
So since November, since we've been there, there's been snow on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, because even in Bali, so we were in Bali, now we're in Thailand, and we're in the Thai islands. We're doing a research trip for a future Travcest Thailand trip for next year. And so we're out in the islands, and it's hot. Like, we've been to Bali a million times. Like, it's hot, but yeah, there's something different about this time where I'm like, wow, like, it, like, to walk around during, like, you just want to be in the water. I just want to be in the water. Like, get me in the water and I'm fine. There's a beautiful breeze. Like, but when the sun is pelting and you're walking from place to place, like, I've just never experienced that kind of heat where I'm like, oh my God, like,
well, not only that,
I need help.
We went on a all-day island hopping tour, and obviously it's on the individual, but it's like, I put on my sunscreen, and then you get in the water, and then I tried to stay as covered as possible, but it's like reapplying every time you jump in and out of the water on an island hopping snorkel tour. Like,
we're fried.
We're
Leatherface.
I'm burnt, right? Like, but not as bad as I possibly could have been, which is good. But now, like, Kim was like, "Hey, like, let's record the podcast and then let's go walk around." And like, nothing in me is like,
it's too
no,
hot.
like, I'm not walking aimlessly.
We're in this weird place, which we'll get into the whole like this trip, the Thai
We'll need to
Islands and
record
stuff
a
next
whole-
week.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of we'll get into all that. But right now we're recording this, it's 2:17 p.m. And so our tactic is to record the podcast and then move into evening hours and then go walk down the beach and start exploring, because we're in this weird place that we're burnt. And so you don't want to be in the sun,
Well,
but you're
feels
like
hotter.
on an island and like you're on the beach, and it's kind of what you do. Like you can't escape it. So it's a weird,
Well, I'm also
our
wearing
skin just needs to cool down.
I'm wearing a long sleeve sun shirt to like protect myself, but I'm also wearing long sleeves in this heat, and my body is radiating heat, so it just feels even hotter.
Yeah, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll do a full episode next week about all the Thailand things next Tuesday. But let's get into the Singapore Airlines. So because we flew that for this trip, and I did. If you follow us on Instagram, I did a quick reel, kind of explaining. We were like comparing it. Singapore Airlines business to our Emirates business experience. Because we flew Emirates business from Bali to JFK. So same route, right? Like same amount of, like we were in the air for, I said 24 hours, like in the air, not like layover, not airport time, like in the air, like wheels up 24 hours, 30,000 feet above.
Yeah. Well, we also did that.
And Singapore was the same.
Singapore was the same because we just talk about the longest flight from JFK
Yeah.
to Singapore, but then you got another flight from Singapore to Bali, right? Hello?
Wait, what?
We always said
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
we flew both legs business, which is what we did going home
Oh, that's what
from Bali to JFK on Emirates.
Okay, and right. So to specify the current, at the time of this recording, because I know they're in the works of doing another, like upping the longest flight in the world. And I think it's leaving from Australia. But currently the longest flight in the world, so meaning there's no gas, like it's like from point A to point B, the longest this airplane can go is currently JFK to Singapore Airlines. That is the longest route that's ever been created on one leg of an airplane. And so that's what we did, business. Well, we did it all the way through to Bali, but that we were on that leg.
Correct.
Okay. So we touched on it a little bit in the reel. Comparing that up. Yeah, go ahead. I gotta get a Celsius. I'm freaking
I was just going to
exhausted.
start off by saying we enjoy flying business, and we've kind of made it like a game-ish, not a game, but like it's something that it's exciting to us is to like compare, right? Like what it's like on different experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you know Kim and I, we're all about the experience. Like I could go to a restaurant and get a burger, but it could be better at one place than the other, even though the meat quality wasn't as good because of the experience that burger provided in the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to start off by saying
I have to turn that
that
off. Just for a little bit. I'm freezing.
we'll put a long sleeve shirt on or something.
Can we just turn it off for just a second? I'll turn it back on.
So what was I saying?
Burger, we're all about the experience.
So thank you. Anything that anytime you can fly business is a benefit. In my opinion, there's no bad business class that you have a lay flat seat.
Yeah, that's truth. Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
So like, I just want to be
That's a luxury.
I want to be very clear about that, right? Like, honestly, food, cool. But like, I'm mainly on business because I get my own little suite and I get to lay down, and I literally slept 10 plus hours on that Singapore flight.
Yeah.
That to me, I hit the ground in Bali on a 12-hour difference. Like, it's a weird time warp when you travel all the way to Bali like that. You're like, wait, it's what time? And it just feels like you missed a whole day, but you're not sure. And it just feels strange. And like, I had zero jet lag. And it was like, I got a good night's sleep when we got there. I woke up. I was able to get to our hotel. I felt great. Kim and I went to dinner. It was nice. Like, We walked to dinner and just had a nice night and then went to bed early. But it was like that's why it is, in my opinion, just such a benefit to fly business. But for the sake of being picky and the sake of actually like giving some feedback, you kind of got to nitpick things that sound very privileged.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too. The first time we ever flew business class, because again, we fly a lot and we fly long distances, right? Like the nature of Travis Adventures, like we're on planes a lot, we're hosting trips, and these trips are far away, a lot of them. And so it is such like, I wouldn't use points to fly from like Florida to Colorado to upgrade to business. Like I don't like, it's these long hauls. Like it makes such a big difference. So like to put into context, remember when we were volunteering with Rad Aid and we did that whole project in Tanzania, and they booked our flights for us and we flew, I guess we had gone to Bali before, but this was I think it was like a 17-hour flight or something.
16.
Yeah, it was insane. And we were in coach, I'll never forget. And I had taken a bunch of Benadryl just trying to sleep. And you're just like, I think there was somebody even in the middle of us. Like we were like, and you get off that plane and you were like, oh, like, where am I? What happened? Like, it's such a crazy experience to be on a plane for that long when you're not sleeping. It's just, completely different experience than the first time we ever flew business. And when we talk about business specifically, we're talking about when you get a lay flat bed, because there's like business class that you don't get a lay flat bed. That's what we're speaking about. Like I would never upgrade to a business unless there's a lay flat bed. Like that's the perk, right? So what was that? Well, when we flew business for the very first time, we had never been in a lay flat bed before, never experienced something like that before.
Hey, real quick, we hope you're loving today's episode and we wanted to take a moment to keep you in the loop. If you work in healthcare or you're a healthcare traveler, or you know someone who works in healthcare and is interested in fun adventure travel, you've got to know about our Travsess adventure trips. And listen, we get it. Working in healthcare can feel really demanding, overwhelming, and stressful. We spend so much time taking care of others that we forget to take care of ourselves.
So let us take care of you on a Travsess trip. Once you sign up for a trip, we literally take care of everything. The planning, the logistics, and all the little details. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and make unforgettable memories with a group of like-minded, adventurous travel friends. This is your time to step away from the chaos, recharge, have some fun, and come back feeling like the best version of you. Everyone who comes on a Travsess trip says you come as strangers, leave as family. Literally. Travsess trips have sparked dozens of new friendships, adventure squads, and travel soulmates that last way beyond the trip.
And honestly, it's not about the places we go. It's about the amazing people you meet along the way. We personally plan every itinerary based on our own travel adventures, so we have been there, done that, and know all the best things to do and see that you would not find on your own. Plus, we've got some awesome local friends on the ground to help us make each trip extra fun, special, and totally unique. Our trips are for active adventurers who like to get out of their comfort zones and push their limits. And the best part? We keep our groups small and intimate so you can form real connections like really, really fast.
So if you're ready to ditch the planning stress, find your adventure crew, and travel like never before, head over to imtravsess.com and grab your spot on one of our next adventures.
That's imtravsessed.com.
Or you can send us a DM over on Instagram at Kim and Aaron G.
That is KIMANDERRANG.
Just DM us the word adventure and we can chat more about it. You can also find our Instagram, our website, everything is linked in the show notes below. Also, at the time of this recording, we have 3 spots left to join us in Oaxaca, Mexico in 2025, which honestly is one of our favorite trips. Yeah. So you can head over to our website, check that out. And we also have so many more fun adventures coming your way in 2026.
We cannot wait to see you on one of our life-changing trips. Now let's dive back into the episode. If you're talking lay flat, that wasn't even the business from New York to Italy. That was just a nice seat on Lufthansa.
No, that was a lay flat. That was our first lay flat. That was 100% a lay flatbed.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It was just only an 8-hour flight. That was our yes, you're right. That was our very first time. And it was right after COVID. And remember there was like 2 other people in there and we were all like, yay, like cheers to travel again. But that was the first, and we were both like, we don't want to sleep. We just want to stay up. We want to drink wine and champagne and watch movies because we were so excited. Like we didn't want to waste it. And then we landed in Italy and we were so exhausted because we were up the whole night when, essentially we could have slept, but we were like, no, this is too much fun. And then we slept for like 2 days in Italy.
Yep.
But the first time that we flew, I guess was it that Emirates flight that we flew Oh no, it was a Thailand flight. That long distance that we flew in the late
for my birthday?
For your 40th birthday.
Yeah.
We flew from Bangkok to New York for your 40th birthday.
No, to San Fran.
Oh, right. Because we went to our hotel there. And we flew business class. First time that long of a flight. And I remember being so freaking excited. I don't remember what airline that was, though. I think it was United.
I think it was United.
And just being like, this is the coolest experience of our life. And so it kind of just became a thing for us of when we can upgrade to business on a long haul, we will do like whatever it takes to be able to do that because it completely changes your experience. Like once you do it, you're like, how am I ever going back into coach?
Well, and I will say that is the downfall because now it's gotten to where like, I got this flight from JFK to Singapore to Bali, and we don't have a flight home. Mm-hmm. And now thinking I got to go this long haul with not really the amount of points that I'm going to need for 2 business class flights, other than trying to figure out how to book a flex ticket and then upgrade, which we can get into, but like unsure of what that is. We haven't even looked into the possibilities.
Yeah.
But I do not want to fly coach 24 hours.
I know. And again, that sounds so like privileged to say, but it is once you do business, it's very hard to go back. And I will say too, just as like a pro tip, if you want to use points or not, so you can upgrade either using points or you can even pay. So we've done both, right? Remember when we flew home from Chile, I think it was, and we paid to upgrade it and it was on American and it was only like $300 or something for business.
It wasn't a lay flat though.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was. Because I remember I'm like, this is awesome. It was a quick flight, but it was like 5 hours or something. It wasn't anything crazy. But anyway, so you can either use points or you can pay. And so how you go about doing that is when you book a flight, you always book there's like the first tier is usually just, you can't use points, you can't upgrade. It's like, it just is what that basic economy. It's always the cheaper option. But once you book that, you can't really do anything else. You're just locked into that. Then there's usually another tier, and depending on the airline, but it's like flex. And it's a flex ticket. And with that ticket, you can usually upgrade.
Well, and I will tell you.
Can I just walk through this really quick?
Sure, but it's on that point though.
I just want to say one more thing is that when you book that flex ticket, you can call the airline because a lot of times they'll send you an email or a text or something with like, oh, you can upgrade. But I always call the airline and just see to check in, and a lot of times we've been able to upgrade with that, or they'll give me like another route that we could take that like we don't care about the route, that then we can also upgrade into a business. But what was I just gonna say? But I forget. I lost my train of thought. But basically, especially once it gets closer and closer and closer, usually they will give, if there's any availability, obviously there has to be availability in business class for you to be able to upgrade into it. But once your trip gets closer, that is when you have that option, usually, to upgrade using points or to pay.
Totally. And I will say that too, when you book your ticket or are about to book your ticket, you can keep scrolling down on the website and you can look, and it tells you like what your ticket entails, and they will say possible or available to upgrade to business or first, and it says yes. It'll like let you know that it is one of those tickets that you could upgrade to business or first. So that's a good way to know that if you have that ticket, it's on the website.
Yeah, totally.
Because it tells you what your baggage weight is, it gives you details of what that ticket includes. Your meal, Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi, like snacks, everything.
Yeah. And sometimes, we'll weigh out if it's worth it or not, right? So like sometimes they'll upgrade you for one part of your trip. And it will be, so say it's like they'll only upgrade you from Bali to Singapore, right? That's a 2.5 hour flight, 3 hour flight for $1,000. You're like, yeah, no, that's not worth it, right? So you got to kind of look at it, but that's how we've always been able to upgrade. And the last thing I'll say too is just, and then we'll get into the actual flight and then how you booked this flight. But for instance, if we upgraded to the Singapore Airlines, right? How many points was that?
We didn't upgrade. I bought it.
You bought it
out.
outright, right? With points.
It was 145,000 points.
Okay.
Each.
So 145,000 points each. You could take 145,000 points and you could get a lot of just free flights, like not business, just coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for free, which is huge. So I think it also depends on, do you want to just have more points so that you can fly a lot more and go different places for free?
That's 290,000 points.
Right, for a couple. But because it is a lot of points. But for us, because of the nature of our business, all of our trips are booked on a credit card. And then to pay our vendors and then our partners, and then we pay that. So we get a lot of points. So that's something to think about, because like if you weren't getting as many points as we do, right? Because we're spending tens of thousands of dollars all the time, more than that, right? On a credit card for the trips. No, you wouldn't. So
No.
If you were just like, if you had a certain amount of points, but you didn't get as many as we do, then would you save your points?
Yes. So there's a little bit to that, right? Because again, a little bit more backstory is because we did Emirates. I swear we've done Qatar, but I don't think we did. But
I can't place it.
But it was like Emirates, and then we've always heard such good things about Singapore. And so we kind of went after it, right? Like, is there a flight that we can do to Bali, business class, on Singapore, that we fly into the Singapore airport and like we have that whole experience? Because I want to see what it's like. Because to be honest with you, it would be nice to know that we're going to Bali and I know what airline I'm going to pick, right? If I'm going to do a business class experience. Like, I just want to know, right? So I'm not wasting time trying to figure out what it is. I just look for that airline, that flight, that date, and go. Mm-hmm. And so for us, we just wanted to experience Singapore Airlines. And to me, we can make more points because of our trips with our credit cards and do something else. So I don't know if I would be as free to like, let's just try it, because that was 290,000 points.
Yeah, for both of us. But for one person, it's a little bit different.
Correct.
I don't know, man. I think I would. Because like for me, it's just such a different experience. Like I would save up to do one, like a really good one. I would do Emirates and I would go as far as I possibly could go, because especially if you're like an aviation nerd, like we are, like we love flying, we love the whole experience. So like that for me was one of the best days of my life, flying Emirates business class, something I will never forget. And so I think that I would save up and do that experience. Probably not as often as we do, but I would definitely save up for that experience because I think it was 100% worth it. Okay, so getting into the Singapore Airlines. Okay. We've heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
And again, while an amazing experience, I was comfortable. I was cozy. I had my little bed. Like you said, we slept for 10 hours. Like, girl is not complaining. Like that, there's no other way I would want to do that kind of a long haul flight. It was amazing. We woke up, we were refreshed.
The staff was awesome.
And that's the other thing too, with the opportunity to sleep like that on a plane, because it's the jet lag. Like you're buying yourself time as well, because we were not jet lagged at all. Like we slept and then we stayed up for our last leg into Bali. We got into Bali at like 4. And so, or something like 3 or 4. And then we stayed up, we went and had dinner and we stayed up and then we went to bed that night and like, we were fine. We never had jet lag. So that's well worth it. Okay. That being said, overall thoughts on your Singapore experience.
Again, I'm going to preface, you're going to hear this over and over again. I know,
but we've already said it. Like, we understand this is a bougie freaking conversation. We get that flying business is amazing. It's always a great experience. But if we're nitpicking Singapore Airlines.
Okay, so here's my nitpick. Number one, it's so funny when you think about it. No champagne on takeoff.
Okay, no, don't laugh. Let's talk about that for a second, because that's a big deal.
Okay.
No,
go ahead.
For me,
is it a big deal?
It is, and for me personally, it is, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I used to envision, this life and traveling and all the things, I always would envision taking off, my favorite part of flights, with a glass of champagne. It's an experience. There's something about it, right? And I would hold that vision. And when you fly business class, that is like one of the perks. Like you get on the plane and they're like, hey, do you want water, sparkling water? Do you want, champagne? Do you want a glass of wine? Like, as soon as you sit down, right? So like in coach, like, you ain't getting shit till we've taken off. Like we're up in the air. Like then they come out with the cart and it's 3 hours and you get a Diet Coke. Like not like you sit down and like, can I get you a glass of champagne?
Warm towel.
Yeah. And so you are sitting there looking out the window, getting all your stuff set up in your cubby. You have a glass of champagne. And for me, it's just such a celebratory moment and something that I enjoy so much. Like it just has a lot of meaning. And it's like I'm sitting there having a glass of champagne. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, to me, that's so important. Like, it's such a part of the experience.
It's just funny coming from somebody that if I walked out of this hotel right now and I was like, do you want to get a glass of champagne?
Never.
You'd say no.
Never. That's hilarious. I never drink champagne unless I'm taking off on a business class flight, right? I associate with that. Right, because champagne gives me a headache. Like, I don't even really like it, but there's something about it with the taking off. It's a whole moment.
Okay, so here...
They didn't offer it to us.
Well, we asked, and they said they could not give it to us.
Which is bullshit.
It really is.
They gave it to us Singapore to Bali.
Correct. And they also can't say that it's a American FAA thing, because on Delta, on our way...
We do it all the time.
...to New York, we had a huge glass of wine that he put in a plastic cup so we could use it for takeoff.
Yeah.
So.
Can I just say this? Pro tip. If you find yourself in business and you want a glass of champagne or a wine or something and you want to enjoy it during takeoff, which is my thing, I like to enjoy it during takeoff. I don't want to have to like chug it and then give it back. So if it's in a glass, then you have to finish it before takeoff, right? So they'll let people are getting settled, you can have it, but you have to give the glass back to the flight attendant. So what I do is I always ask, can I have it in plastic? They'll give it to you in a plastic cup, because if it's in plastic, you don't have to chug it. I just enjoy it and sip it during takeoff, which is what I like. So get it in a plastic cup.
Totally. So, okay. So no champagne on takeoff.
Red flag.
Red flag. I will say I'm not sure where the glitch was. I know it was not on me because I had 24 hours prior to takeoff. But Singapore did. I was very excited because they sent me something when I was checking in. And it says that you can choose the onboard meals that they're going to serve in business class, or you can choose from the chef, and the chef will have that meal for you on the plane when you get there. And it's all done through the app. And I thought, wow, that was really cool. Because Kim and I ordered truffle cheese raviolis because we wanted to stay away from meat on the plane, and like it just safer that way, right? And like a truffle cheese ravioli, like let's go.
So excited for that.
Right? Picked our meal, picked our appetizer, picked our dessert, everything. I had it all set up, right? So then they come around, they're like, Mr. Gibson, hi, welcome, blah, blah, blah. What will you be having for your meal? And I said, well, I ordered from the chef. And she said, oh, no, we didn't. That didn't make it on board. So then I had to choose from the three options, which in my opinion was not very good.
The food was garbage.
Okay.
Like I
didn't know if you wanted to go like that far to say garbage.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Like compared to other business class flights we've taken where like the food, I was actually like, it's not like, oh, this is good for airplane food. I'm like, bro, this is good. Like, this is good, right?
Yeah, totally.
In general. And so for the fact that they didn't have what we ordered, are you having a sniff?
I am. Continue talking.
Are you going to chew that?
Yes.
If I was doing this right now, you'd be yelling at me.
No, because I'm more conscientious about that.
Are you serious right now? Oh my gosh, that is so rude. I can hear you. So the fact that they didn't have our special meal, and which is fine. Okay, cool. I'll order from the menu. You know, I'm not that bougie. So they only had, and I eat vegetarian on the plane. I'll never eat meat on a plane. I just don't like meat that much anyways. Like, you guys know this, whatever. But especially on a plane, I'm going to eat vegetarian. So they didn't have any vegetarian options. It was like fish. They had fish. They had pollo. And I think they had...
They had chicken, beef, and fish.
And okay. No vegetarian options. And it stunk. The seafood dishes stunk. Like,
did you order seafood?
No, but I smelled them. Other people who did order them. I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, I was like gagging. I was like under the blanket, literally throwing up from the smell of the prawns. Okay. Like, it was disgusting.
Was it prawns? No, it was sea bass.
It smelled like a prawn.
It was sea bass.
So they're like, well, the only thing vegetarian we have is like a pasta with a tomato sauce. And I'm like,
Coach.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. If that's all you have, what am I going to do? So they brought it over. Of course, yeah, they took it from like the Coach meals, but they like tried to put it on like a fancy plate. And it was like, you know, when pasta kind of gets cool and then it like all gets stuck together. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's clumped. Basically, that's what it was, like clumped.
It was cold. It was cooked hot, went cold, and then reheated, and it just stayed clumped.
Yeah, it was clumped, and did not taste good. Mm-hmm. The highlight for me was the garlic bread.
Yeah,
that was on fleek.
Uh-huh.
I got 2 pieces. Nice. She's like, she gave me one. I'm like, can I have 2? She goes, oh, you want 2? I'm like, yeah, I want. Give me another piece of garlic bread. Well,
She gave you a hard time?
She not like, but just like, oh, you want 2? Like judgy. Like, you want 2 pieces of bread? And I was like, yes, I want I want all the bread, if I'm being honest. Like, just give me the loaf of bread because this pomodoro is garbage. So that was it. There was no, and there was no salad because the salad had prawn. Sorry. That's what it was. The prawn was in the salad. Why are you putting seafood on a salad, bro?
Well, they also served as for appetizer. It was like smoked salmon.
Yes.
Which, okay. Like fancy it, but like from a plane, I don't know, dude. It just didn't sit.
It doesn't work.
Sit well. It was very fishy. I'm
sorry. Like, why are you serving seafood on a plane?
So what I was gonna say was,
disgusting.
Kim and I were doing a reel, which I have for the Singapore Airlines flight, and to be honest with you, I did not even film my meal.
That's when you know it's
right
garbage.
To where my brain always says, I could be at any restaurant and I take a bite of something. I'm like, oh my God. And I pull out my phone, right? It's kind of like the new chef's kiss. That's what everybody says.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to film it, it's a chef's kiss, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that I didn't even film my meal. It was kind of like, okay, it is what it is, right? And so Kim was like, "Did you film your food?" And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I will say again, another nitpicky thing. So the food wasn't very good. Okay. The second thing is every time I've been on a business class flight, I say more no's than I have to say like,
can I? Yeah.
Totally. Right. They come by all the time. Can I refill your wine? Would you like another glass? Like, can I get you more water? Like, what do you need? So I really want to say there's also a crew thing, right? So like somebody else could fly Singapore and have an amazing business class crew.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been crew dependent as well. Or that is a generalized Singapore philosophy, right? Like they offer you a wine with dinner, but they never come back around.
Yeah.
Right. And so that to me was kind of lame. Whereas like, I used to have even on United, I had a lady, a flight attendant. Again, I'm not anything special. It's not like I had a special bond with her or anything, but she would always peek over my little thing and see my glass empty, and she'd just pour it again and then wink at me, like,
oh my God,
just like enjoy it. I was watching my
wine
movie.
Angel.
Yeah, she was like a wine angel, right? And like I've had Emirates is the same way,
yeah,
right?
Oh,
Emirates
God, yeah.
is like
nonstop,
constant. And anyway, I'm not going to get into that yet.
You could have. Because I had to keep getting up and asking for more water. Like,
yeah,
they would fill my water bottle because, like, I like to drink a lot of water on the plane, and like, I would get up and they would come by once in a while, but I would get up and be like, "Hey, can you fill up my water bottle?" And they would, but yeah, it's not like they're usually so much where you're like, "Bro, leave me alone."
Yeah.
So again, I know. This is like ridiculous to be commenting on, like, hey, they didn't come by and fill up my wine every 5 minutes. Like, obviously we get what we're saying here, but
if you're comparing business class experiences, again, when I went into the Emirates experience, I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And so they set the bar very high. So this is another thing is I do think that one thing that helps Kim and I with jet lag is we actually will look at what time it is in the location that we are in. But it's really hard to do when you're leaving the United States heading for Bali because usually there is a layover at some point. And so you just got to do the best with what you got. But I will say if it is like we're flying from New York to Italy, we wonder what time it is for that in Rome, right? And if it's the same or, getting into dark time in Rome, but it's daytime in the United States, well, then we'll try to sleep on the plane to then get up and be more on the times. And so it was 11:50 p.m. I stayed up for 4 or 5 hours, but then you have an 18-hour flight.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're just like, I don't even care. That's a whole nother day, right? Mm-hmm. So we basically just slept like we would normally for the United States, woke up in Singapore, and then just stayed awake for the whole time. So then you're ready to go to sleep at nighttime because Singapore is on the same time frame as Bali. And so Kim and I went to go to bed and we're both pushing our seats back with the little controller. And I noticed when I first got in the plane that where you put your legs up was catty corner at an angle to where the seat was. And so I was like, what's this about? Like, why, how is this going to work? And so I was sitting completely sideways on my chair, which is a very weird way to sit.
Yeah, it was weird.
To put my feet up, which is honestly something that I enjoy. Like, Kim and I buy chase lounges at home, and I always want to chase because I love to be able to sit with my legs up. I'm not a big sit with my feet down kind of person. And so, like, that's one thing I really enjoy in business class is being able to, like, even when I'm eating, just put my feet up, put my tray down, and, like, sit there and watch. I recline a little bit and eat my meal, and then I just kind of lay down and go to sleep, right? But I also at times, like, if I'm not sleeping, I like to sit up a little bit, and then maybe I get tired again and I lay back down. Well, on this Singapore flight, Kim's like, my seat won't go all the way back. And so, like, I'm trying to help her, and the lady next to us is letting us know we had to call the flight attendant. They had to come make our beds for us. So, like, I know that sounds crazy. Again, somebody made your bed for you, and you actually had a bed in a plane. Like, yes, I understand what I'm saying. But, like, the fact is now that my bed was made, from the time it was made, it was just made the whole time. So now there's no sitting back up. I had to sit Indian style on the plane whenever I was done sleeping.
Right. So that's we did not have the free will to move our chairs up and down how we see fit. How we, like, once it was down, it was down. Once it was up, it was up. So you had to get help they had to come and do it. And I feel like that is, I just really didn't like that. Yeah. Cause, like, okay, for me, I don't mind sitting Indian style. And, like, I had my dinner or whatever the next meal was. Cause after I'd woken up, and that was fine. But yeah, it's just to be able to, like, most of the time you can just push your own buttons on your seat and it goes up and down as you see fit. So you want to relax a little bit, read a book, sit up, eat, go. You couldn't do that. It was very weird. I did not like that at all.
No, and because also where the button locations were, apparently, while I was sleeping, my elbow hit the do not disturb button. And so they almost didn't let me have breakfast. Because I had a do not disturb and they came by to ask me what I wanted. And since my do not disturb button was on, which normally they're up in your little center console dash area to where you can't just accidentally nail it, right, while I'm sleeping, which kind of sucked too.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, is, like, could you ask multiple times, I want to lay down, I want to sit up, I want to lay down, I'm going to have my meal, can you please sit up? You could literally do that, right? They were coming over. They can fix your bed and your seat however you want. But for me, I just feel weird asking. Not even weird. It's just like I'm deterred from. I'm not going to keep asking. Can you set it up? Can you put it down? Like, I'm just not going to do that, right? Like, maybe some people will. People did, but I'm just going to sit Indian style and I'm going to figure it out. Right? So, like, once your bed was down, you felt obligated to keep it that way.
That's how I felt.
Yes.
Because then, like, which in a way, I sat up fine. I laid on my side. I watched a movie. And then I went back to sleep after breakfast.
Me too, bro.
But, like, okay, so in general.
That was a really negative thing.
Yeah, but so there's no more really to add to
I have something to add.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's mine too, but go ahead.
No, I don't think it is, but
does it have to do with in the flight?
Yes.
Okay.
The seat was a negative 100 for me. That I did not like that at all. The food, despicable.
Really?
It was not good.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, just
I couldn't tell that I was in business class.
Oh, okay. No. So then for my breakfast, again, I don't eat eggs. I don't like them. It's not that I can't stomach it. I can't stomach it. I don't want to see anybody else eating them.
Yeah, you were throwing up in Thailand with me eating my toast and eggs.
It was so gross. The yolk was, like, running down your face.
Yeah,
it was like all in your teeth. I was like, this is freaking disgusting, dude. It was like a monster. Okay, so Sorry, my eyes are hurting.
So are
Do you
mine.
see this?
Burning.
Oh my, do you see this?
Mhm.
Oh my God, are we okay?
Maybe.
I can't open my eyes. Babe, am I okay?
Here, switch with me, babe.
Do you see that?
Come sit here.
My eyes are Bloody Marys.
I think there's something going on with you.
Babe, my eyes are Bloody Marys.
You're not having an allergic reaction, are you?
I don't know. I'm like, am I okay?
I don't know. I mean, do you need a Benny? Okay, keep going. Keep talking. Talk through the pain.
This feels better.
Yeah.
So for breakfast, I don't have eggs. They only offer that. She literally, no joke, brought me one, Yoplait yogurt. Like, what? Like one.
Really?
Yeah, there wasn't even like fresh fruit. There was, like toast, like nothing. It was like a Yoplait yogurt on the middle of my tray, like all by itself with nothing else. I'm like, this is my yogurt? Like, this is my breakfast? This is what you're offering? Because usually they'll have like oatmeal or, something else like that. Like, okay, you don't need eggs.
Usually you get fruit and granola. And,
right.
Yeah.
So I was like, at least like take the yogurt out of the Yoplait container, maybe put it in a bowl, maybe put some fruit on it, sprinkle some granola, jazz it up, No, it was literally like just a plastic Yoplait on the middle of my tray. And I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Okay. Yeah, I eat eggs, so I was fine.
I will say that they did have oat milk, which I loved I had a latte, and that was a treat. I've never had a latte on a plane actually before. And so they did it with oat milk, which I really appreciated. But this is what I was going to say with the inflate. So sometimes I have a sweet tooth. I love chocolates. And on the other thing was the dinner service took so long and I was so tired. So I didn't even have dessert. I just like ate.
That was the one thing I did take a picture of.
I know. And it looked really good. I'm really upset with my decision. But I was so tired. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for bed. So then when I got up, I was like, do you have any chocolates? Because usually they'll have little boxes of chocolates. I think on like every like business class flight, I've always gotten some kind of like special chocolate treat. And so I was like cruising the cabin and I went up to the flight attendant. I was like, hey, like, do you have any like chocolates or anything? And she was like, over there, if you want, you can have one of those. And it was a basket. And so in flights, they'll have like, they even do this for coach, right? In the back of the plane or like by the galleys, they'll have like a basket and there's like snacks in it. So there'll be like nuts or chips or whatever that you can just grab, in between service. And there was like tiny, tiny little bags of M&Ms. And she was like,
It's probably for the crew.
no, it wasn't. It was for the passengers, but it was like snack packs, right? Like what I brought you with the caramel popcorn or whatever was from that. So I grabbed a couple of those and like, yes, it was delicious and I freaking loved it. But it was again, just like, where's my little chocolates? Like she was just like, you can have one of those.
Okay.
Okay. What?
It's just so funny.
I wanted chocolate.
I know. I'm listening to this and I'm like,
we're so annoying.
we've just nailed. Okay. All right. Again, in true Gibson fashion, give me 3 things you loved.
On the plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't just nail them but those are these are the truths.
We've already said
if you're comparing the two.
Yes. We've already.
But give me 3 good things.
Okay, 3 good things is just being able to lay down on the plane. I was so comfortable. Like I'm so grateful for that.
They were very comfortable.
So comfortable. I slept really well. That was absolutely amazing. So never going to complain about that. I was very comfortable the entire flight. And everybody was super nice. Like the service was good, right? Like they, that was great. And then 3?
I have 2 more, so that's good. Well, let me just add. I'll just say them then, instead of sitting here like for you to think.
I feel like I'm under interrogation.
So number 3 to me was the storage space.
Oh yeah, that was
They had a
great.
really good storage space, so I could keep my backpack with me if I wanted to grab something, and I had like stuff that I wanted to grab before, I went to bed, and so I just kept those in my backpack. I didn't have to like set them all up. I will say too, Kim and I on the video were very the toiletry kit was not very good either.
Oh,
So
don't even get me started on the toiletry kit.
the toiletry kit was bobo, but you did like the pouch. But we did say
The
on the video that there's no toothbrush or toothpaste, which was very shocking in the moment. But I will say that they had an entire drawer in the business class bathroom for like face stuff and toiletry. So you could get a toothbrush, toothpaste in the bathroom already in this little compartment. So they didn't put them in your toiletry kit. You could just grab as many as you wanted in the bathroom.
Okay.
Go ahead.
They also...
You can go back into the negative if you would like to go into
Just one more.
Okay.
They didn't give us pajamas.
Okay, that's not every flight.
Every business flight I've been on.
Bullshit.
Okay, Emirates, and then there was...
That's it.
And Polaris. Polaris did too on United.
What?
Yes. Like they're like really... They're the Saks Fifth Avenue. It's like their whole like branding thing. And they gave this really nice like amenity kits, but there was pajamas and slippers. So, and Emirates is like beyond, like with their special pajamas. And I loved that because it's like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And then you would, we have a neighbor. And then another one. And then I would go, and I always bring my own amenity kit anyways, like to wash my face and brush my teeth and put on like my lotion and all that. And then you change into your cozy pajamas and you go back to your little bed. Like, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
So no pajamas.
Okay.
Anyways.
So another benefit,
Okay.
I will say, was the headphones.
Mm-hmm.
So those were noise canceling, nice headphones where even on Emirates, they're kind of clunky and they're not noise canceling.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can hear everything kind of going on around you. And these were really nice, almost like my personal ones. So I usually grab my own personal ones and plug those in the business class because mine are comfortable. Whereas these in Singapore, the headphones were really nice for the movies.
I'll give them that. Perfect.
So I'm going to go to another downfall.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
The lounge.
Yeah. So, okay.
Absolute bull hockey.
So, again, in comparison, when we flew business class from Bali to
Dubai.
Dubai to New York, okay? Bali to Dubai, to Dubai was like 9 hours. We flew that, we got off, we got to the lounge at 7 a.m. The lounge was in the terminal of our flight. Not only was the lounge in the terminal, this is where Emirates just goes above and beyond. Kim and I had our own entrance into the plane from the business class lounge, which means we left the lounge, walked 10 feet, and our gates were all lined up for the different Emirates flights. So you could just pick your gate. You go in and there's a service person right there. You scan your ticket. You go through the upper little like thing. You get into the plane, and it's just super, super cool. Singapore's only business class lounge that we could access was in a completely different terminal. And it wasn't even that nice.
No, it was garbage. Like, you could get in with priority pass. Like,
you could
it
not.
was freaking garbage.
You could not.
I won't, because part of the flying business class experience is the lounges. Like, you know, you get these special lounges and it just creates a completely different experience, right? When you're traveling. And so going to Dubai and going into the Emirates lounge, like Emirates is just above and beyond and everything. But you know, it's like you can go take a shower. There's places you can lay down. The food's amazing. Like beautiful, like bar with cocktails. And like you said, you can board the plane there. Like, it's just, you're like, wow, like this is luxury. Like, this is what I get with my ticket. Like, it's part of the experience. Like we even allotted for, and in Dubai, the lounges, most of them are open 24 hours, which is another huge perk because if you're coming in at 2 a.m., a lot of times lounges are closed. So it's open. You can go in. We would even allot more time to be able to have more time at the lounge because it's part of the experience, right? So the fact that Singapore Airlines didn't have a like really nice business class lounge that we could in the same terminal. So we had to leave the terminal. We went to it. And yeah, like it was okay, but like I've been to nicer lounges using Priority Pass.
On top
it
of
wasn't
that,
special at all.
We were about to board the longest flight from New York to Singapore. So obviously it's a very well-known route.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in New York Airport in JFK, Kim and I spent our time in the Delta Lounge because our prior ticket got us Delta Lounge access at the business class Delta Lounge, which was absolutely phenomenal. And we asked, where's the Singapore Business Lounge? And they're like, oh, that's the one that you could use with Priority Pass.
Yeah.
And it was like,
what?
so you're at JFK for a flight that goes all the time for business, and you don't even have like some connection to a special lounge that you can make people feel special. And I will say again, I just want to set the tone as well. I was thinking about this not too long ago, actually the other day. And I was thinking about, because Kim and I are currently on a research trip, right? And I realized if I had to put it into words, what I look for when it comes down to like our groups, because it's what I want our group to feel when they come on a trip with us. And the only place I've really ever felt it was Omar's food tour in Oaxaca, where I questioned, how is he even making money on this? Because of the amount of value I feel like we get on that tour, right? Like, it's unbelievable. It's like anything you want to go experience. Do you want another one? Do you want to try something else? Like, let's go here. And then the amount of places we go. And then we end at the wine bar. And he's like, keep it open. Like, it's just this experience. You're like, damn, I paid a good amount of money for this, so it better be good. And then on top of that, you're wondering, how is he even, I feel like I've eaten $400 worth of food, right? Like, it's insane. Emirates provided that. Right? They provided that experience of like, how am I getting all of this on this ticket? Right? And I always want our group to feel like I paid a price for this trip. How are they making any money on this? Like, this is insane to me. How are they even paying all this on what we paid? Like, that's what I want people to feel, right? And like Emirates does a good job of that. Singapore didn't provide that, although it was a good business class experience.
Yeah.
It was one of those flights that if I just want to sleep and Singapore business is open and I don't care about like kind of having an experience, then I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not choosing it first. I'm going Emirates.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, is that amazing experience. Amazing experience to be able to do that. But the value of when you're comparing it to something like Emirates, that you really walk away from that being like, wow. That being said, let's talk about the price difference, because you also, get what you pay for, right? So Emirates was way more expensive than Singapore. So we already said, so Singapore Airlines, we booked using just points, 145,000 points each. We didn't buy an initial ticket. We just bought the whole thing using points on their website, right?
I do want to, let me just back that up, because if we're giving a tip to this, what I don't think a lot of people understand is it's free to join the frequent flyer miles of any airline. So what I realized is I have joined every airline, like, what do you call them, thing on their website, right? Put in my email, created an account for Kim and I, both of us. We have a frequent flyer account with every airline, literally with even British Airways, and we've only taken them once. Like, you just never know. So what I do is, if I find a good flight, then you go on their specific website and you type in redeem flights. Usually that'd be a good thing that's on Universal, like redemption flights, redeem flights, pay with points. And so then a lot of airlines now are letting you pick 7 days in advance. Some of the good ones allow you to see what the whole month is. Singapore is one of those, which is why it was so much easier, because Kim and I did not have a set date. We were coming early. relatively extremely early, right? And then I just went on and was like, there was 145,000 points per ticket for the whole month. But the problem is it was a wait list for this. And so I didn't want to book a wait list. And
Wait, what do you mean wait list? Like
it said you could book it.
But there was no guarantee you were going to get it.
No guarantee you were going to get it for your points. And then they would refund your points.
If you did.
And you wouldn't have a flight.
Okay.
Right? So like I didn't want to risk that.
Yeah.
So I just searched for days that didn't have a wait list. And March 10th was one of those days. And so I booked that flight from JFK to Singapore and then Singapore to Bali. And that was no wait list all the way through. Some of them were wait list on the Bali flight and not the JFK and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really just kind of it did not take me that long to do because Singapore provided us an entire month to look at. Right. And it told me what the points were. There were some days it was 175,000 points, 160,000, but the majority of them were 145 all the way through.
I will say, throwing that in there too, I think because United does this really well, which is how we got our first ever business class flight. It was on Lufthansa, but they're partners. Was through United because it gives you the whole month and it's called Saver Rewards. And so we were able to book that using very minimal points, but we were flexible with the days. So I think if you're wanting to use points to book a business class flight, the more flexible you can be with your dates, that's how you're going to be able to like get one of these deals that you can use points. If you have like a specific day, like the chances of you being able to do it, unless you book the flight and then hope to get upgraded, you're not going to be able to.
So basically on our flight home, like I'll just go into all my different airline miles, frequent flyer things, sign into my account and look to see around the dates that Kim and I want to leave, plus or minus 1 or 2, if there's actually a business saver flight home on whatever airlines, right? And so you can't do that on, Expedia or Booking or any of those sites. You got to go directly to the airline website.
So let me ask you this because you're the one who does this, right? So you book all of our flights when we're doing some sort of like point thing. So I'm not even really that familiar with it. But so if you know that we're going, so for anyone listening, right? So like if you knew we were going to Bali, we're going to Bali. That's our destination, right? So you know where we're headed. Then, but we're open with the date, right? So like, it's not like it has to be this date. So then do you literally go on all of the flights, like all the airlines websites and look on all of them and see what your best options are? Mm-hmm. So it takes a lot of time to figure out.
I started off by I knew about Singapore. One, I also know a lot of the routes into Bali because we book all of our we don't book our flights, but I get flight times for our guests for arrivals. And so I see their routes, right? Because they send me their tickets. So I know, and what you start to realize is like somebody could literally tell me, I'm coming into Bali at 12:07 p.m. on this date on this airlines, and I can tell you the flight number. Because it's all the same, which is crazy, right? And then they say, I'm coming in on the 11th. Well, it's the same flight number if you're coming in at the same time, right?
Yeah.
They just run the same flight. So I've learned the majority of the airlines that come in majorly direct.
Okay, but I'm asking you, like, for anyone who's listening, okay, they don't know the flights or the
Okay, so
routes.
if I was just doing it, yes,
but do you go to, like, every single
Yes,
airline?
I would set one tab as Turkish, one tab as Emirates, one tab as Singapore, one tab as...
And you just look.
And I just look for the dates and see if there is a business saver flight, Cathay Pacific, like all of those, right? And just KLM, like...
Do you have to log in to be able to see this? So,
yes.
So basically you also have to create accounts with
Correct.
each airline.
Correct.
So a Delta, an American,
right.
a British. So this is like a pretty time intensive thing. I'm sure there's other ways to do it.
There's probably other ways. It's just the way that I've found it to be. So I just took one time when I was like bored with like, I didn't have anything major to do. And I was just sitting there and I had some time to kill. And I just started like looking up all different kinds of airlines that fly to the places that we want to go. And I just made accounts for you and I.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then I saved them in like a little folder. So then I know it says airline memberships and I go in there and it gives me my login, but I save my login. And so every time I open it, just bing, 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 bing. it automatically logs me in. And so
Yeah.
I'm
Again, we're not like experts on points,
Hell
so
no.
like I'm sure there's other like apps or other things you can do.
Totally.
To figure,
and I will say
that
too,
out.
one thing to think about, and it's one thing that I think about when it comes down to the credit cards I use, mainly for our trips. One, Kim and I have to have a visa because a lot of places don't take Amex. And so if I have to split between credit cards, instead of being able to put everything on the Amex and just gather all the points for it, I want to be able to have the most bang for my buck. And so what I did was when we were getting Capital One Venture X, which is what we just got, and that's the card I really wanted, along with our Amex, between those two cards, they hit the majority of the airlines that Kim and I fly. I will say that if you're looking at like Etihad and Qatar and like all of those are One World partners. And a lot of times those, I know Amex does cross over to them, but I try to find which airlines do Chase and Amex talk to. And then that's when I go on to each credit card. And now that I have like 75,000 points or more on Capital One Venture, I have like 80,000 points on Amex. I can use both of those, which gives me a lot more, and then pump them in to those airlines, which is why you need to have an account, because it gets pumped into the airlines and then booked from that airline's flight.
Right. Okay.
On their website.
Right. Okay, so what did we pay for Emirates? So we just said we paid 145,000 points for business. Do you know Singapore, sorry. Do you know what that cost in dollars? Like, I wonder how much it was to just book.
I mean, a lot of people say that you could literally look at it's 1 cent per mile. So basically saying that was $29,000.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering what it would be if you like booked it. Like if I went on Singapore and booked a business class flight right now, how much it would be.
Did I look? I'm guessing. So it's not, but I remember I wanted to see what it was outright. And it was upwards of $10,000.
What? No way.
For that flight? All the way to Bali?
$10,000?
Yeah.
No way.
Per ticket?
Okay, I'm going to look that up so talk about the Emirates one then. Because that was more expensive.
So Emirates is more expensive. I've never been able to, I'll put it to you this way. I've never been able to outright purchase an Emirates business class ticket with points.
Right.
Never, right? So that is always the flex route where Kim and I spend, a good amount of money. I think we spent upwards of $1,800 or more, not per ticket, but together.
So explain that though better. So we booked a flight.
Well, we already explained at the
Emirates.
beginning. We booked the flex ticket.
And we got the flex category in coach. And we spent how much? It was like around $1,800 or something each?
No,
all together. Okay.
You always book those flights.
So we bought a flex ticket with the hope that we would be able to upgrade, right?
Yes.
There was no guarantee that we could upgrade.
No, but I've also gone on to see, is there business class tickets available for the dates that we want to fly?
Yeah.
To then see if we do buy a flex ticket. Because if business class is sold out, if there's literally tons of tickets. And so what I'll do is, a lot of times too, they'll let you check and see. And I'll go all the way through the process before I even pay and do seat selection. And when you do seat selection and you get to pick your seats, so I've literally booked the flight business class for the day. It's going to be like $20-something thousand. And I get all the way to seat selection and then I cancel the whole thing. Because I want to see how many business class seats are in there before I book a flex ticket for that day. Because then I know the chances of us actually getting upgraded right away is pretty quick if we're going to use points and money.
Okay. So, sorry, I wasn't listening because I was looking up this flight. What did you say? And then we were able to upgrade. And then how many points did that cost?
It varied. So there was like 90,000 points one time for both of us, which is 180,000.
Okay.
To upgrade. I looked back at our Emirates, there was one that was 75,000, but it depends on where you're going.
Okay, so but to put that in perspective, right? Like we bought a ticket outright. So we paid $1,000 for a ticket. Then we also used a lot of points to upgrade. So when you're comparing it to Singapore, it was probably more because in
100%
Singapore
more.
we didn't spend like $1.
No, I spent $60.
$60. So it says right now, it can estimate because they say the prices fluctuate all the time, but it's reasonable to say that a one-way business class ticket can range between $3,300 to $4,000.
On Singapore?
Uh-huh.
That's not that bad.
No. It's Emirates.
Okay, that's probably what, because I look at Emirates a lot. And so maybe that was 10,000.
All right, let's look. So, okay, so if you were just to buy, if you and I were to buy, so say it would cost us like $8,000, $6,000 to $8,000 to buy business class seats on Singapore Airlines for that route. Okay, and then we spend $145,000 each. Okay, on Emirates, well, this is round trip, but Emirates it says 72.67, but it's saying it's about the same, which I don't think is
What
true.
route are you looking?
I just looked at Chat GPT. I said Bali. I said New York to Bali.
I feel like that's hogwash.
Yeah. I've seen Emirates tickets be like
$12,000.
Yeah. $7,000. So anyways, I think
I mean, Etihad was $16,000.
that's my next. No, it
Yeah.
wasn't 16. You're talking about for that apartment thing.
I don't even know what it was, but
My next goal for business is I really want to do Etihad. I do feel like, which is, so their route, it goes through Abu Dhabi, I think, where Emirates goes through Dubai. And I do feel like the Middle Eastern airlines, even Qatar, like even flying coach in Qatar is a next level experience, right? Like they do a really good job. So I feel like the Middle Eastern airlines just take it to another level. Like in my opinion, they're way better than any other airline I've ever flown.
yeah. I feel like
Tell me an airline that's better besides like Delta.
Well, right.
Okay, take that off the table. But Singapore,
I feel like we had a pretty
Cathay,
Okay, Cathay, really?
garbage.
I mean, we did their business class and it wasn't a lay flat. That was the one.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a shorter
5-hour flight.
Right, but the food was good and the experience was good.
Yeah. It was okay. But I'm saying, tell me a better airline.
That's true. No, I mean, Etihad, Qatar, and Emirates are my three favorite.
We've never flown Etihad. Ever.
No, from what I've heard.
So that's like my next goal is to do Etihad business class. Etihad also has, which is like so crazy next level. This is like ultimate goal, but they're the only airline I believe that has this, but they have like, it's like an apartment. Like, it's like an apartment. It has a bedroom and a living room.
You can go check out
That's insane.
Kara and Nate on YouTube. They actually flew it and videoed it.
That would be sick. I would never pay for that, but I would love to be able to do that for free.
If you're listening, Etihad, we will definitely, get it out there to our audience.
That's my next goal. And Qatar.
I feel like we did it, but I know. That's really sad that I don't think we have. But anyway, any last minute wrap-ups?
I think that's it. I think, again, all in all, flying business anytime is a dream. I'm so grateful. It's a luxury experience, any way you want to put it. That's just us comparing that experience from, an Emirates, which is just untouchable. Like, sorry, like it just is. I mean, Emirates has a bar. Like we didn't
even get into that.
We were upstairs in a bar drinking martinis, dirty martinis.
She was literally taking out of olive packets. They had full-on snacks. They had a candy bar. Like you could literally, she was like, oh, we're going to hit turbulence. And we're like, oh, we'll go back to our seat. She's like, no, just fasten your seatbelt.
At the bar.
And I looked down and on the bar stool, there's a seatbelt. And I'm like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
they had a lounge area.
Yeah, like we met and had a date night in our jammies, in our nice, cute, cozy little jammies in the bar. And we had warm nuts And olives.
I definitely did. But I
Oh,
also
I want to do that too.
I also will say that again, you're talking about the Emirates experience.
Mhm.
Just having a bar and a lounge area is really cool. But we sat down there. You asked about a dirty martini. She was like, "Yeah, I can make that work." She didn't
Yeah.
like make it. She was like, "I think I can make that work." And so she went and got olive packets that were literally sealed and opened a bunch of them, and then made like a little olive dish for us
Yeah.
with nuts and olives with the leftover olives that she put in, and then literally squeezed like 6 packets in for Kim's
Yeah.
dirty martini, and then proceeded to pull out a Polaroid camera and take a photo of Kim and I that we could keep for our, like,
Yeah.
that's, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Just those
that's the
little
kind of
touches.
stuff that I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like a Polaroid picture of us in our business class at the lounge in our jammies having a whiskey and a dirty martini.
Yeah.
37,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Like,
those are the little value
I'm telling
adds.
you,
Yeah.
it's worth it every second.
So if you're gonna do it once, I would say do Emirates. It's incredible, and yeah, I think that's it for now. There's really nothing else I want to add. You?
Nope.
Okay, let's go out and walk on the beach. Brave the heat. Maybe take a dipperoo.
Yeah.
Find a bar. We've been in Thailand for 4 days now. We have not had one Chang beer, which is like their beer, ice cold beer.
Which
We haven't even had any
gotta-
alcohol at all.
No, we haven't had
Not
sipped
one
alcohol.
drink.
I haven't had one drink.
I'm ready to like go sit on the beach, have a drink, talk to you. Like,
We definitely got to turn this around.
We've got so much to update you guys on next week, which we will do on Tuesday. Next Travel
Should we
Tuesday.
do it as a Thursday podcast?
We'll talk about
Just
it.
because it's real.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
We'll see you Thursday. I'm going tinkle. Okay.
Off the mic.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope that you really, really enjoyed it.
And if you did love this episode, can you please do us a huge favor and just share this with one of your friends? Like, just somebody that you think will get value from this episode. It would mean so much to us.
Yeah, like do it now. Like while you're inspired, go now.
Like right
Do
this
it.
second.
Yeah,
Go,
do it.
go, 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 go. Or just like share it on your Instagram story and tag us at Kim and Aaron G so that we can see it and thank you personally for helping us share this message, share this episode, and blow this baby up.
Yeah, help spread the obsession.
Ooh.
You can do that.
Let's get obsessed.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful to be on this journey with you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.